You've been working 7 days a week, all year round, taking only a few holidays and being told constantly that your work needs to be changed. 2 guys on your development team have had to quit due to almost having mental breakdowns. You're working on what could be the greatest game the world has ever known, perhaps the most complex game ever created. Well, partly created, because every time you get close to finishing just one part of the game, you're told it's just not right. In fact, you're starting to feel like you're looking for a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, chasing your own shadow, being asked to believe in something that doesn't actually exist. This is the story of the most expensive game never created. First of all, modern video games are very expensive to make, and they take a long time to complete. Here at the Infographics show, we actually know a guy who spent years working on some very big video game titles. He had 2 nervous breakdowns in those years and said developing video games was the most stressful environment he'd ever worked in. We guess making games sounds like a really fun job, but trust us, playing them is not like making them. So you have these big teams of developers working really long shifts and going out of their minds. They need to be paid a fair bit of money for this, and then after that, you've got marketing and packaging and office space to pay for. You might have a team of, say, 150 core people to make a complex game such as Grand Theft Auto, and they might be working on it for 3 to 4 whole years before any cash comes back. Grand Theft Auto 5 is estimated to have cost anything from $139 million to $270 million to make. The good news is it also made tons of money for its publisher Rockstar Games. That was to the tune of about $6 billion in total revenue. The game Destiny cost about $500 million to make and market, which is more than any movie that's ever been made. Okay, so it can be costly to make a game, and of course it's a big risk, and it certainly paid off for Rockstar with their Grand Theft Auto franchise, and we reckon Nintendo with its Super Mario franchise has a bank full of billions in gold coins. But imagine this for a second. You're spending years and years on a game you and lots of overworked, stressed out, Adderall-eating developers, and you just can't finish the thing. It's like the search for the Holy Grail, but not quite as exciting. Maybe a better comparison would be Quarantine with a computer. The game we're talking about is called Star Citizen, and its story is mind-blowing if not confusing. You see, back in 2011, when this game got off the ground, it did so only with the help of the public. It had raised $2 million in crowdfunding by 2013. And the bosses said, okay, now we can start. Developers start writing code. And that was 7 years ago, and you know those guys, the ones that lasted, are still at their stations, no doubt now on an Adderall drip. The team of guys in charge of making this game belonged to a company called Cloud Imperium. They've been busy getting more funding, and believe it or not, they're now at around $328 million. That makes it the most expensive game ever in terms of development. The game Destiny might have cost around $500 million, but that was the full shebang. There was tons of money on marketing and packaging, and Destiny's creators actually said the production alone was not even close to $500 million. And Destiny is actually finished, which is quite important indeed. So we have Star Citizen, right now the most expensive game not ever made but never made. We're going to go into details about the game itself, but we'll tell you that it's in the space trading and combat simulator genre of games, meaning you'll be flying around in space, shooting things and buying things. Did we ever tell you this amazing fact? Space is a big place, like really big. There's a lot to work with if you're trying to make a space game seem realistic. Let's say there are around 2 trillion galaxies in the universe, and each of them holds millions and millions of stars. Then you've got a star system like our solar system, and that itself is pretty big. But we hear that Star Citizen wants to create 100 star systems. Maybe that's just too ambitious. We think you'll soon find out that it is. That's kind of the whole problem these guys are having making this damn game. Just how big do you make space when you're trying to make the best space game ever? How perfect do you make it all? There have been investors sinking millions into this game, but the majority of the cash, over $250 million of the money, has been crowdfunded. That's Joe Public putting in his hard-earned money into a game that can't seem to get finished. People are starting to say, well, if Rockstar could blow your mind and do a GTA title in 3 years, then surely Star Citizen is not just literally going to be out of this world, but figuratively too. Almost a decade on a game. Surely they've got something really special already, or maybe not. There are people out there that think Star Citizen won't be that mind-blowing at all, and the money has all been virtually vaporized. Those critics, and we're reading one right now, say there is no holy grail. They say Star Citizen is a chimera, the game version of Kaiser Soze. Others say it's a scam or it's just been very badly managed. We have no idea. Don't shoot the messenger, we're just telling you what we've read. This is how one reporter put it. Star Citizen has become the lightning rod for controversy, with several entire forums worth of people dedicated to forensically dissecting every tiny detail, rumor, or allegation surrounding the project. The thing is, that report was made almost 4 years ago and the game still hasn't been completed, and the guys are still asking for more money. One thing might just be that the person at the head of the production team is a perfectionist, but you know, one of those perfectionists that can be quite hard to work with. Creating the perfect universe might not be so easy. More recent reports we found say the game has been mishandled, mismanaged, and working on Star Citizen has been chaotic. That's 537 employees working at 5 different offices, all being micromanaged by a perfectionist, and likely so overworked they haven't even been told it's 2020. They get paid well though, with $30 million being paid out in total in salaries in 2019. That's quite a lot of cash for a game that hasn't been made and may never be made. Imagine you paid some construction company $300+ million to build you an amazing house, and after 10 years they told you they still hadn't quite finished the bathroom toilet. We actually found out where some of the cash went. We found one graphics engineer who spent months on visual effects, but for a really small element of the game. The developer said he quit after spending 17 months on making characters and then was told to change them. He said this was going on all the time. Meanwhile, the company was spending lots of money on making demos so it can impress people and get more funding. The enterprise was a money-making machine, but for the workers it was like being trapped in a Franz Kafka novel. Like going down a rabbit hole and getting lost in a network of confusing tunnels, or being told to travel to a castle that's just impossible to get to. This is what one investor said after he saw where his money had gone and how far the game had got in terms of development. The game they promised us can't even barely run. The performance is terrible and it's still in an alpha state. I won out. They lied to us. He wanted his money back. This guy said that back in mid-2019 he was promised that the game would have 100 star systems, but guess what? When he looked at the alpha mode, it didn't even have one fully completed star system. Not one star system in one entire decade. Let's do some math. 10 years, 100. Maybe the game will be completed around 2120. All of its fans will be dead by then, or at least have grown out of computer games. Now check out, why do games cost $60? Why hasn't the price of video games changed? Or are you playing the losing game, Fortnite versus Apex versus PUBG?